The wind scraped across the plains like a blade as Cole Rider reigned in his horse outside the largest ranch in 3 counties, the Black Hollow Estate, a place whispered about in saloons and feared by men who valued freedom more than gold. And Cole valued freedom above all else, especially now that he was running from a past soaked in blood, debt, and regret. He had come seeking work, nothing more, but the iron gates shut behind him like a prison door the moment he crossed the threshold, and before he could turn back, he was summoned inside to meet Silas Blackwood, the ranch owner known for his ruthless bargains and colder heart, a man whose wealth came from cattle, land, and secrets buried deeper than any grave. And as Cole stood in the dimly lit study with its towering shelves and mounted animal heads staring like judges, Silas studied him with sharp eyes that missed nothing, asking about his skills, his past, his scars. And Cole answered carefully, knowing that desperation made men careless, yet he could feel it crawling under his skin because he needed this job to survive the winter. Hours passed like slow torture until Silas finally leaned forward and delivered the sentence that would change Cole's life forever. His voice calm but absolute. "You want to stay on this ranch, cowboy? Then you'll marry my daughter." And the room seemed to tilt as Cole stared, stunned, thinking it was a cruel joke until Silas continued. "She is ugly, disfigured, a shame to my name. Every man who's seen her has turned away. You marry her, give her your name, and you'll have land, money, protection. Refuse, and you leave this place tonight with nothing." And Cole's heart hammered, because he had seen enough of the world to know when a man was not bluffing. And he also knew that leaving meant starvation, bounty hunters catching up to him, or worse. Yet the idea of marrying a woman he had never seen, described with such contempt by her own father, made his stomach churn. Cole asked the only question he could force out, "Does she have a choice?" And Silas's smile was thin and cruel as he replied, "She obeys." And in that single word Cole understood the kind of household this was, a kingdom ruled by fear, and though every instinct screamed to run, his past whispered louder, reminding him of the crimes he was trying to outrun, the men he had buried, the promises he had broken. And so, after a long silence that felt like a lifetime, Cole nodded once and said, "I'll do it," sealing his fate with 2 words. The wedding was arranged with chilling speed, no celebration, no guests beyond hired hands ordered to watch. And when the day came, Cole stood at the small chapel on the edge of the ranch, dressed in borrowed black, his palms sweating as whispers followed him like shadows, ranch hands muttering about the boss's cursed daughter, about her face, her isolation, her screams at night. And when the chapel doors opened, the bride appeared veiled from head to toe in thick lace that hid every inch of her. And though Cole braced himself for revulsion, what unsettled him more was how small she looked, how her hands trembled as she walked, how no one met her eyes. And as vows were exchanged under Silas's unblinking stare, Cole felt something unexpected stir inside him, not desire, not fear, but pity, deep and aching, because whatever waited beneath that veil, this woman had been treated as less than human. When the ceremony ended, Silas wasted no time, ordering Cole to lift the veil then and there, to accept what he bought, as the crowd leaned forward hungrily. And Cole's heart pounded so loudly he was sure everyone could hear it. Yet before his hand could rise, the bride whispered so softly only he could hear, "Please, not here." And something in her voice, raw, broken, human, stopped him cold, forcing him to hesitate, to look at Silas and see not a father but a tyrant using his daughter as currency. And for the first time since arriving at Black Hollow, Cole made a decision not driven by survival, but by conscience, as he said firmly, "I'll lift it in private." And though Silas's eyes flashed with anger, he allowed it, certain that reality would crush Cole soon enough. That night, alone in the small house assigned to them, Cole stood across from his new wife as she sat trembling on the bed, the veil still hiding her face, the silence heavy with dread and curiosity. And as he reached out at last, his fingers brushing the lace, he had no idea that what lay beneath would not only shock him but would unravel every lie told about her, expose a cruelty far deeper than ugliness, and force him to choose between wealth and justice, obedience and love, a choice that would cost blood, loyalty, and everything he thought he knew about himself. And if you want to witness what happens when the veil is finally lifted, when the truth comes to light and a broken woman finds her voice, make sure you subscribe now, because Chapter 2 will change everything. Cole's fingers trembled as he lifted the veil in the quiet of the small house, expecting scars, deformity, something monstrous that would justify the cruelty he had witnessed. But what he saw stole the breath from his lungs. Not ugliness, not horror, but a woman with a delicate, almost haunting beauty marred only by faint bruises along her cheekbone and a thin scar near her temple. Marks not of birth but of violence. And Cole froze as understanding crashed into him like a stampede, realizing the lie Silas Blackwood had fed. The world was not about shame but control, because it was easier to call a daughter ugly than to explain why she was kept hidden. Her eyes, large and wary, searched Cole's face as if bracing for rejection. And when he didn't recoil, when he didn't sneer or turn away, tears spilled down her cheeks as she whispered her name, Eliza. And in that moment, Cole felt something inside him harden into resolve, because he had spent years being used by cruel men, and he would not become one himself. Over the following days, the truth unraveled slowly, painfully, as Eliza spoke in fragments about a childhood locked away, about beatings for disobedience, about Silas's obsession with preserving his power and reputation at any cost, about suitors driven off with lies, about her face once bruised so badly that servants were told she was disfigured, to justify her disappearance. And Cole listened, rage simmering beneath his calm exterior, knowing that Silas had not sold him a burden, but had tried to bury a secret. When Silas came to inspect his bargain, sneering and demanding confirmation of Eliza's condition, Cole met him with steady eyes and said simply, "She's my wife." Now, a statement that earned him a sharp slap across the face and a warning that disobedience would not be tolerated. Yet Cole saw fear flicker behind Silas's authority, because lies are strongest until someone stops believing them. Tensions on the ranch escalated, as Cole quietly earned the loyalty of the hands by treating them fairly, by working harder than anyone, by protecting Eliza from Silas's reach. And whispers began to change, curiosity replacing cruelty, until one night Silas arrived drunk and furious, determined to reclaim control, barging into the house with a gun and demanding Eliza remove her veil before witnesses to restore the narrative he had crafted. But this time Eliza did not tremble, because Cole stood beside her. And when she lifted the veil herself before the gathered men, revealing not ugliness but truth, a murmur rippled through the crowd like thunder rolling across the plains. Silas shouted, raged, accused Cole of deception. But the lie had collapsed, and when Silas raised his gun, Cole moved faster, disarming him in a brutal struggle that ended with Silas on the floor, defeated not just physically but morally, exposed in front of the very men he ruled with fear. The aftermath was swift, and final authorities were called. Old crimes surfaced, witnesses found their courage, and Silas Blackwood's empire crumbled under the weight of its own corruption, leaving the ranch free and a daughter finally unshackled. In the quiet that followed, Cole offered Eliza a choice she had never been given before, telling her she owed him nothing, not marriage, not gratitude, not silence, and when she chose to stay, not out of obligation but affection, their union became something real, forged through survival and trust rather than coercion. Seasons passed, the land healed, and so did they, to wounded souls building a life where cruelty once ruled, proving that true ugliness is not found in faces but in hearts, and that sometimes the bravest thing a man can do is stand against power when it wears the mask of authority. And if this story moved you, if you believe redemption is possible even in the harshest places, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because more powerful stories like this are coming, and the next one may change the way you see the world.